Good evening, ladies and gents. I am 1663378, and today we're going to do a review on the peashooter. Today joining me is Skullcrusher and Fuba, so special thanks. The peashooter is your standard unit, with a standard splash weapon. You'll be falling upon the splash damage quite a bit for most of your attacks. And as you can see here, the peashooter is a one-shot, one-click deal. In other words, semi-automatic. It's going to take a while before you can dish out the next shot, but it is very worth it. As for the background on the peashooter, he is preferably one of the fronts of the fight. People see him as an assault unit, or defensive. It depends how you play. Next up, we have the Fire Pea, one of the many peashooters I consider to be an assault unit. It has the splash damage as well, but with a slight twist. As much as it does less damage, it has the ability to catch people on fire. But this fire will burn over time, doing 5 damage. Sadly, as most assault troopers, he can be a bit difficult to use. But, if used properly, your rather reward is the kill. I'm afraid I cannot think much on this subject because, well, there's not much to say. After all, assault troopers are pretty basic. You see the enemy, you fire. Although, it doesn't mean that he's going to be easy. It just means that it's going to be a little more difficult. After all, the P will only go as fast as the game will allow it. So you have to be careful, time your shots well, and aim correctly. After all, time on the battlefield is everything. One wrong move, and you might as well be dead. But if you pull it off in the end, you will achieve victory before you even know it. Our next class here is the Ice Pea, possibly one of my favorite classes. The Ice Pea is another one of those splash damage types, but of course it has its own little spin as well. Where you see, each shot is ice cold. The first few shots will make them slow, but after a while you can possibly encase them with ice to where it will leave them open for any attacks. This slowness can also be used to your advantage in case someone's trying to run away before you can kill them. If you equip the Ice Pea well enough, you should be able to run straight towards them, take them out, and run away. That is, if you're good enough. I tend to use his splash damage more than I ever in any other game. Seriously. This class is highly advised that if you have a variant using splash, use it. Because you'll be falling upon it more than you'll think. Just trust me from someone who's been playing. As for damage, it varies. Although you shouldn't be surprised, it's going to vary for all. Since all of these are not fully upgraded, I will not say their damage. But you can see how much damage they do with the upgrades that I have. If you want to know the max damage, I'm sorry, I cannot give that info. I'm afraid you're going to have to look up a Wikipedia. Enough said. Next up is another assault unit. Works a little differently, but it does the same thing. The Toxic Pea does less damage when it has hit its target and is doing continuous damage even after you're done hitting it. But with that, it has its own play as well. For you see, it has radius of radiation. You don't have to always be right in front of your targets for this radius to work. A distance will be effective. The best way to use it is to hide behind a corner. As soon as they pop out, shoot. That is, if they're not radiated. So that's going to be hard to pull off. Yet again, as all assault units, I suggest you equip him properly and get him ready to kill something within seconds. Also, another word of advice, use the super jump to your advantage. For since you will be able to jump very high, you will be able to jump over most obstacles and shoot them above it. I suggest you use it when you can, if you will. As for the rest, there is not very much to say. He is the standard type of a P, so there's not much to be said on that subject. As for damage, yet again, he's not fully upgraded. I apologize for not having every character upgraded before I did this, but I'm afraid you'll have to deal with the hand that you're dealt. After all, I'm just giving you my preference on how these classes work. Also, if going as toxic, travel in pairs, if not packs. No one will be able to survive the radiation, or the second. Just be careful of those electrical characters. One shot, and that damage will deal straight to your ally. Next up, another one of my favorites, the Commando P. This one works a little different from most, and you're about to see why. Now, as many of them have a single shot splash, this one tends to have a different fire. As you can read, it's fully auto. That means you hold the button. Sadly, I wish the rapid fire was a little faster, but it's something I can deal with. Now this P is a strange one out of 3, where it does more damage up close. This shouldn't discourage you from sniping if you want to. If you feel like hitting someone from far away, then by all means, just remember, there is recoil. Yet again, there is not much to say, but since I have this guy fully upgraded, you can take the lettering on your screen to its word. For how much damage it does, and how effective it is. Yet again, I consider this another assault character, but he is also very good at defensive. Then again, it all depends on how you play. And my play is usually aggressive. And that's how I'm focusing on with most of these. Next up is probably one of my hated ones, the Agent P. As a slight joke, I like to call it the Asian P. No offense to any Asians out there. Now, as you can see off the bat, he has less health, and he's another one shot, one click. I know it looks like it's rapid, but look, it's a one shot, one click. It is very annoying. Now, since this is a one shot, one click, he is going to be pretty difficult to use, since his Ps do not fly as fast as most. So you're going to need more calculation on when to fire, where to fire. The reward is rather nice, but sadly, I don't think it's worth the debuff on health and usefulness. Of course, yet again, this shouldn't discourage you from sniping, because this is another character which, the closer they are, the more damage. Matter of fact, this is one of 2 peashooters I see people sniping with a lot. But of course, it's not always easy. So don't take my word for it. You're just going to have to test it out yourself or watch another YouTuber. There's nothing more I can say. Next up, the second hated one, the Law P. He is another one-click, one shot sort of deal, with a slight twist. He only has 6 shots. Always 6 shots. With this, he has his health back to normal and increased damage. Yet again, this is the third. The closer they are, the more damage he does. Now, when I recorded this, I'm afraid I could not find a effective way to use him during this. But when I was playing it a while ago, which you won't know when that was, I figured out that you have to use him aggressively. Really aggressively. Yet again, this character is another one where most people tend to use as a sniper. But sadly, for me, it's just too tall of an order. I cannot figure it out. Next up, my third favorite, the berry shooter. A slight counterpart to the regular pea shooter, the berry shooter acts as one of a pea shooter, not berry. I'm very sorry. Now, the difference between the berry shooter and the pea shooter is the splash radius and the splash damage. The berry shooter was more focused on how much damage you could do with splash than contact. This is mainly why I say you're going to rely on splash more. The character is very effective for hiding behind corner characters, or just people who do not love to come out and give off a fair fight. Pretty effective, yet again, as always, work in a group. There's nothing more I can say. If you aren't with another person, the chances of success are slim. Because the berry shooter has 8 shots, and they don't do much damage on contact. Just barely more with the splash than the regular pea. So be careful. And if you must know, I prefer this one as a defensive unit. Finally, we have our proclaimed and very nice Plasma Pea. Plasma Pea is another one of those that works a little differently from most. For instead of one shot, one click, he has a charge. I'll lay it simply for you so you can understand, in case you do not know how it works. He has the 1 level charge, 2 level charge, and the 3 with another slight twist where it explodes slightly after contact. He is very effective, a heavy hitter, and another defensive unit in my opinion. Then again, it's all up to how you play. If you prefer to run into your enemy's face with it all the way charged, then please, who am I to stop you? But honestly, if you want my personal opinion, stay high and stay out of sight. You should be able to hit your mark as long as you're accurate enough with most characters. He is another fully upgraded one. He's also one that you get in the beginning, just like the berry shooter, so you get everything at the start. So everything that you saw for the berry shooter and this one is rather true to its damage. So you do not have to question. Throughout this video, I have put around all of these abilities that you will soon see on the screen. I hope you can find them all, decide which ones you're going to use for your pea shooters, and use them effectively. Thank you everyone so much for watching. This is 166337, signing off. Have a good day.